Hello, we're from TRANSCREDIT, where we provide credit and factoring tools for the transportation industry.
A hot topic right now is double brokering, and we're going to explore what double brokering is and how freight brokers can avoid it. Now, freight brokers, they play a crucial role in the transportation industry.
They act as intermediaries between shippers and carriers by helping to match cargo with appropriate carriers, negotiate rates, and ensure timely delivery.
It's a lot.
It is.
And one of the biggest challenges faced with freight brokers today is the risk of double brokering.
Now, one might ask, what is double brokering? Well, double brokering is a practice where a carrier accepts a shipment from a broker and then subsequently tenders the same shipment to another carrier for transport.
It's crazy. This means the carrier is essentially acting as the middleman and profiting off the work of another carrier without doing any of the actual transportation work.
This practice is unethical because the carrier is misrepresenting itself as the actual carrier of the goods when in reality they're acting as a broker. Let's take a moment to talk about why double brokering is a problem. Double brokering is a problem for a number of reasons, but first and foremost, it's illegal. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or the FMCSA, prohibits carriers from brokering loads without first obtaining a broker's license. Carriers that engage in double brokering are essentially acting as unlicensed brokers, which is a violation of federal law and subject to fines.
Secondly, double brokering can create a number of different issues for all the parties involved. The carrier that actively transports the goods is most likely not aware that the shipment has been double brokered, and most importantly, they're not the ones who agreed to the original terms and conditions for the initial agreement between the broker and their original carrier. This can lead to disputes, overpayments, and liabilities, amongst other issues.
Additionally, double brokering can create a number of logistical challenges.
Yes.
If the carrier that actually transports the goods experiences delays or other issues, it can impact the delivery schedule and create additional costs for the shipper.
Now, I understand the frustration, and I'm on some of the same load boards that many of you all are on. And while policing double brokering should be a shared responsibility of both the freight brokers and the carriers, what we want to do is give you some helpful tips that will allow you to alleviate this frustration.
One of the best ways to avoid double brokering is to conduct thorough carrier screenings.
When doing these screenings, brokers should verify that carriers have the necessary licenses, insurance, and should also check their safety rating, inspection reports, credit ratings, and other key metrics.
By conducting thorough screenings, brokers can ensure that they are only working with reputable carriers that are qualified to transport their clients' goods. Many carriers and factoring firms won't extend credit to brokers who've been in business for less than a year.
Now, they do this to mitigate risk, and it's a practice that should also be considered by brokers when deciding which carriers to work with. There's not a large barrier to entry to set up carrier authority, so new MC numbers pop up daily.
Keep in mind that carriers that are less experienced may not have the necessary infrastructure and resources to transport goods efficiently and effectively, which may lead them to double brokering your freight.
By working with carriers that's been in business for longer periods of time, brokers can minimize the risk of double brokering and ensure their clients' goods are transported safely.
Building relationships with carriers is another effective way to avoid double brokering.
Brokers can develop a network of reliable carriers they trust and can work with them on an ongoing basis rather than relying on unfamiliar carriers from the load board.
By establishing a good rapport with carriers, brokers can gain insight into their operations and can develop a better understanding of their capabilities, strengths, and limitations.
Now, one way that a freight broker can inadvertently double broker their shipments is by interacting with dispatch service providers.
Dispatch services are third-party companies that essentially find loads from smaller carriers and help with their back office support. While dispatching services can be useful to smaller owner-operators in some cases, they can increase the risk of double brokering.
Now, there are many dispatching services that find posted loads from load boards, brokers, shippers, and they give them to carriers under the guise that they're employed by the trucking company.
When you work with a dispatch service, you may be opening yourself up to a lack of visibility, a lack of control, and a lack of accountability if something should go awry.
Now, load tracking technology is another valuable tool for brokers to minimize the risk of double brokering. This technology allows brokers to track the location and status of their clients' goods in real time. This can also help identify any issues or delays that may happen during shipments.
Load tracking technology can also provide brokers with valuable data on carrier performance, such as on-time delivery rates, average transit time, and other key metrics. By using GPS and/or electronic logging devices, you can ensure that loads are being transported by the assigned carrier and prevent unauthorized assignments.
Now, brokers can also protect themselves from double brokering by including clauses in their contracts with carriers. These clauses can stipulate that carriers are prohibited from double brokering shipments and can also outline the consequences for doing so.
For example, the contract may stipulate that carriers will be liable for any damages or losses resulting from double brokering and may also provide for termination of the contract in the event of a violation.
Now, as a freight broker, it's essential to be aware of the risk of double brokering and take the steps to avoid becoming a victim.
By following these best practices, brokers can ensure that their clients' goods are transported reliably, legally, and can protect themselves from the risks associated with double brokering. We thank you for watching, and remember, we not only offer credit and factoring tools, but we can also help with the vetting process. Go check out this content and more at www.transcredit.com.
Also, check out our YouTube page where we're uploading new content the 15th of every month at TRANSCREDIT.